Welcome to Cosmic Confluence podcast, dear listeners. As you all know, this is a space where we explore the unseen forces shaping our everyday lives. Not just spirituality as a concept, but spirituality as something lived, tested, and sometimes questioned. Now, listeners, I'm your host, Sana, as always, and today's conversation, let me tell you, it sits at an interesting intersection. Soft skills, personal development, and what we often call business success. These are the words actually common in all out and out business world. But beneath all of that, there is a human being navigating fear, confidence, intuition, ego, sometimes shame, and purpose. Our guest today, Ajita Shah, has spent over 4 decades working directly with energy, intuition, and healing. Her work is rooted in spiritual practice, psychology, and what she describes as remembering ancient wisdom through lived experience. So, listeners, today we are not asking how to be better at business. We are asking a deeper question. What inner capacities actually allow someone to succeed, sustain, and stay aligned in the outer world? So, Ajita, welcome to the Cosmic Conference, and I'm really honored to have you here.
Thank you, Sana. I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, so let's first start. I think instantly our listeners will think, "Oh my goodness, how exactly business or soft skills they find a place in the world of spirituality? How exactly Sana is bringing up a conversation about it in a spiritual podcast?" So when people hear this word soft skills, they usually think of communication, emotional intelligence, or leadership presence. From your lens or perspective as a spiritual healer, what do you think we're actually talking about beneath all of this?
All these years that business has been around, it has always been about skill set, strategy, education, and, all of those aspects of human beings. But more and more people are beginning to realize that the human being is the one that does the work, whether as a part of a team, as a part of as the leader. And
Mhm.
we are recognizing that the human being is a spiritual being. And if we ignore that aspect of us, the deeper aspects of us, then we are interacting with only parts of our being. We are bringing to the fore only parts of our being. And the things that really define who we are as individuals are ignored. And when we do that, um, we're doing a lot of injustice to the human being themselves and to the work that needs to be done.
I think that makes sense. And I think what you are, what understand is that, what we label as skills, um, they may actually be states of being. For example, um, if during a certain phase of my life, especially in my professional journey, I am good at um, putting up fires out there. I mean, kind of
Problem solved.
putting up fires out there, solving the problems and giving out some solutions. Maybe in a different phase in my life, where maybe I kind of am not in that right place. I may not be able to do that properly. And that kind of, it instantly gets kind of judged and, heavily criticized in the professional world, in the corporate world. You have to keep your personal life different, separate from, your work. I mean, not as a human, but just as a contributor on paper. You have to keep it separate.
100%. And, when I moved to Canada many years ago and I had a lot of connection with the corporate world, this was a really big issue I had because, when you go to work, you spend 8 hours a day minimum within an environment and within a group of people. You have health issues, as do others. You may have personal problems with a spouse. You may have issues with children, in laws, parents. You may live very far from work. You have logistical problems. You have certain things that could be affecting your mental health from time to time. These are all part of us. And when we ignore these, and corporate, well, at least I live in North America, so corporate USA was, on top of this, that there has to be a real segregation and a separation between the person and the work. Like, leave your problems at the door, is what they would say. But it's impossible. If you're looking after a parent who is very sick, or, maybe has some critical illness, how can you not be impacted by it? How can your work not be impacted by it? But when we support the individual by recognizing that this is a real thing, they're not a problem person. It's just an aspect of their life today. And we support them through love, through other resources that they might need. They contribute to the bottom line of the work much more effectively,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Personally, I 100% agree. I mean, still, there will be a lot of listeners who would still feel, no, that is not possible, Sana. I've tried it so many times. I would get comments or feedback like, if you can't sort them out together, take a break, sort them out, and then you come back, or else you look for any other option. This is not possible.
Right. But some of the problem is that we don't have the framework around that. That is why the people, maybe HR, maybe your boss, maybe, your manager, whoever is telling you this, because it is not within the framework of support from that perspective. But I do believe things are changing. People are recognizing the importance of soft skills, of the human being, of spirituality within the work environment. And the companies that are coming on board, conscious leadership, all of these things are starting to come in, and they are starting to develop frameworks, and they are starting to, um, sort of support the people where they need it. It's still small, but it is starting to come, which is, for me, the best news ever.
Yeah, yeah, I agree that as well because I get to have interesting conversations with, guests from so many, places out there in the world that, exploring conscious CEO, conscious leader, about empathy, emotional intelligence, how we can have, framework on relational intelligence. So many new, you know, for me, these are like new concepts. I've never studied them. And I don't think even the most popular business books would, they would really touch it just for the maybe sake of it, but not in much details.
Because I think we have always treated this as the domain of psychology, number one. And also, we have been suspicious of it from a perspective that if we touch these personal topics, then time and will be wasted in addressing this individual's issue. And it becomes more on the lines of friendship and not professionalism. And we've had these mentalities and, these ways of thinking. And that's why nobody wants to, has not in the past wanted to touch it. But definitely things are changing. And on both ends, people are feeling more supported and slow to come, but it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, there's a massive personal development industry built around habits, mindset, self improvement. Sometimes it can go to the extent of, like toxic positivity. From your experience, where does personal development fall short if deeper spiritual or energetic work is ignored?
Oh my God, this is such an important question, and it's such an important concept to bear in mind. I think people are beginning to realize that they need to do work on themselves. We have a highly competitive world we live in. With population growth, resources are limited, and there's much more required of us to succeed. And we recognize that maybe my habits, my attitudes, and all of those things need to be worked on. And then from there, we've created this whole umbrella, overarching concepts of positivity, spirituality, toxic positivity. You're for the sake of it, you know. Um, I call it pseudo spirituality. A lot of people know concepts about all of these things, but they don't imbibe them. They don't know how to imbibe them. And it's much more superficial, much more just mind oriented. They know the concepts, they'll, be able to talk to you. But when you look at them, you're like, but you are not aligned with it on a personal level. And so this is a really big problem. And I think it is a problem where because we're at the beginning of the arc, at least we're using words like spirituality, positivity, personal development, personal growth, etc. Um, but in my experience, unless you know what the core work is and you do that core work, anything that is above that, it's a pyramid for me. So at the bottom core are the most important things to work on. Identity. From identity comes, wounding is a big one for me. When you do this work, then everything builds on that. You cannot be positive if you have physical, mental abuse at home. Yeah. You just cannot be. No, you can say affirmations till you're blue in the face. It's not possible. You have to do that core work. Um, it's hard work. It's painstaking. It takes time. But from there, you develop self love. From there, you develop self confidence. From there, you tap into your intuition, and then you slowly start to change. You become the better version of yourself. You offload things that don't serve you. It's not about uh, becoming something, it is about unbecoming all the things that you carry that don't serve you. Because within yourself, you're perfect, you're divine. So, all of that is all fine and good, but the deeper shadow work must be done for us to truly um, make the changes that are required for us to be happy and successful in life.
Mm, yeah, and this is really, it provides a pragmatic lens, not just surface level or, just like a checklist for the sake of letting people know that I'm doing this. Um, Actually, the one question that, I personally ask, myself sometimes while doing these shows and conversations is that, um, sometimes discussions and conversations around inner work or healing, spirituality, or we humans as energy, whether we are CEO or a manager or just a professional, or anyone, it kind of is just jargonish or for people who are privileged, not the ones who are just trying to survive, um, who don't have the liberty to take time to think about themselves. They may be working, they may be caregiving, they may be having their, trying to have a family, kind of living up to the societal standards as well. There's so many factors here, and sometimes all the importance, the essence of these conversations, they get lost in translation. So, uh, what do you say about this? Like, how in the simplest way, um, even a person who may not believe, who may not be aware about it, can actually start on this journey.
Beautiful, great point. We spend a lot of time in doing things in the day, working, cleaning, looking after family, etc. Uh, Especially women, because after a certain stage, the responsibilities seem to be a little bit more on their plate. They ignore their health. They don't eat right. They don't have time to go to the gym. So, thinking about themselves becomes further removed. But like if you don't eat healthy, your health will go down the drain. If you don't go to the gym, your body will suffer. If you are not paying attention to yourself, you will have spiritual, physical, and mental issues. They also affect your health. So here is something very simple. You don't have to believe in spirituality, you don't have to believe in anything, and you don't need any outside tools.
Okay.
For me, personal development, spiritual growth starts with awareness. And awareness requires nothing but attention. So start to look at yourself, start to study yourself, start to see, firstly, repeating patterns. Are you having fights with the same people about the same topics? Are you attracting the same kind of partner in your life who doesn't treat you right, who cheats on you? Look at all of those things and write them down. This has become bringing awareness to how you are functioning, how you are living. When you do that, from there, you ask yourself this question about what, how does it make me feel, right? What are my emotions? I feel angry. I feel sad. I cry. Write those down. And then you start, a deeper question is, why is this happening? If I want to do, um, I don't know, dance and drama, but my parents want me to do medicine, why am I experiencing this? Why am I attracting friends that gossip behind my back? Things like that. And it is introspection at a very deep level. These answers don't, it's not referring to Google because your reasons are different than my reasons. Even when we ask the same question, because we're both on different journeys and a different soul path. So you sit and you start asking yourself these questions. Make yourself a cup of tea, sit quietly. Quietly is very important. And as you ask the question again and again, and you write, get into the habit of journaling, there will be a split and light will start to shine through. Answers will come. They are subtle. They are, but that will begin to happen. And then make the change. Listen to the synchronicity. Listen to the silent guidance that pops in your head. And as you start making those little changes, stop eating fried food, start going to the gym, very fundamental things.
Yeah.
Then it affects your confidence. You start feeling better about yourself. Loving yourself is imperative, not in any toxic way. You're buying things, you're going to spas. That's not the very small aspect of self love. Self love, where You know you're valuable. It doesn't matter what messaging you get. You know you have things to share. You know you have things to give your friends and your family. That realization, tap into all of those things. And as you do that, your external world will start to change and shift to fit into the new perception that you have of yourself. And it's an incredible thing to experience because it's subtle and doesn't require too much processes and external things. It's all quiet within your soul and your mind eventually. And then as the changes happen, you are tempted to do more of it. Good people come into your life, doors open, opportunities come through. What you're dreaming of begins to manifest, and then you become stronger and you want to do more of that. And that's inner work. Really, there's no. It's not an MBA. Look at your wounding. Look at what people say to you, and know that you're better than that.
Hmm. I mean, it may take time. It may take
It
time,
does
but
take time. It will definitely take time. But the other thing that I invite people is to find a good teacher, a good person to work with, somebody who has a lot of experience, because they can cut short your self exploratory journey. Yeah. Uh, because they know they've been through this. You have to, start from scratch and you don't know anything about it. So, and it can be very frustrating. You can get lost, you can give up. So if you can find a good teacher, then it's always better. But if you have issues with faith at the beginning, then this is the path to growth.
absolutely, absolutely. And I really feel, I mean, at this point of my life, or in this phase, I really feel that I definitely need, I mean, it's a need. It's not even a want. I need a good teacher, a good mentor, a good guide. Um, in different phases, sometimes your parents are your best guides, or your friend, or in the most unexpected places, you get your teachers and your guides. So this is another one which, honestly, I personally love it. And this is something that, I feel that I definitely will be, and I have to work on.
You know what they say, and this is such a beautiful spiritual concept, that when you are ready for something, the universe will present it to you. So when you are ready for a teacher, the teacher will show up in the most unique ways. Like even for myself, when I have clients that come to me, we reminisce on how they showed up. I have met people under the most bizarre circumstances, not as, uh, somebody is looking actively for a teacher and I came up and therefore we connected, but this is the universe playing that chess game because you have a certain desire and the universe knows that this is a genuine desire, to change, to grow. You're suffering through certain situations in your life. And then the universe will say, okay, I know this person who's going to be the most appropriate for you, and I'm going to introduce you to each other. Maybe in a coffee shop, maybe at a bus stop, maybe at the airport. There's so many different ways, and then you get talking, and then you go from there.
Right, right.
I had people refer me to other people because they have worked with me And they have met those people under the most bizarre circumstances, the most unexpected conversation. And then the next thing you know, they're calling. So it's the universe is just spectacular in giving us what we want when we're ready for it. And that's the mood point. We are ready for it.
Hmm. Beautiful, beautiful. So Ajita, before we wrap up, in the interest of time, because I wish we could have gone and on, but still, if listeners they would further like to connect with you, share their thoughts after this conversation with you, get access to your resources as well and your wisdom, what would be the easiest way for them?
Well, they can contact me on my website, which is ajitashah.com. Reach out with, what their needs might be. I have a multitude of ways that I might be able to help them. I have every Tuesday, but it's by North American time, 7 p.m. on every Tuesday. I run a free Becoming Unlimited circle where I talk about spiritual growth, inner work, and things like that. It's an hour and a half long session. People are very welcome to. Uh, the link is on my website. They could, fill the form and join. That's a way. I have many different courses and workshops that I conduct. So yeah, once reach out and it's not one of those one size fits all kinds of things.
Um, fine.
Definitely guide anybody who is seeking growth.
It's just that they have to, they are ready. The readiness, the openness.
S- Yes. You could DM me on it's Ajita Shah official on Instagram. I'm not very, very big on social media. I never have been, but the accounts are there. You're very welcome to reach out.
Amazing, amazing. So, listeners, what I'm gonna do for everyone, for all of you, is have all the links, Ajita's website, her social media links as well, all the details. So just refer to them along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. And if before we conclude, like just as a reflection, if I can say that this conversation, it reminds me that specifically, like what we call success, it's really about strategy alone. It is about capacity, the capacity to hold pressure, receive abundance, communicate clearly, and remain present without losing yourself. The soft skills in this light, they're not soft at all. They're deeply rooted in inner coherence, listeners. And without that, no system, no title, no external achievement can stay stable. So, Ajita, thank you so much for bringing this beautiful depth and honesty and practicality into this conversation.
Thank you very much, Sana. You um, uh, summarized our conversation and the need for soft skills so beautifully. Really well said. If I may just say one last quick thing, your your strategy is incumbent on the identity. So work on that first, and the strategy comes really easily. And then to be able to follow that strategy becomes really easy. With that, I'm going to keep quiet and thank you very much for having me. I really loved our conversation. It's really great.
Me too, me too. So, thank you to all the listeners as well for tuning into this episode. And if this stirred something, maybe discomfort or clarity, sit with it. It is okay, it is fine. Growth often begins where certainty ends. Until next time, this is Cosmic Confluence, and I'm your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you.